Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We got some new stuff pretty much immediately after the release of this information about a new game called WARDOGS. They were kind enough to send me the full press kit for the game so I could use things like the trailer and the video. This isn't a sponsored video. They just sent over stuff so I could actually use it. Apparently, Battlefield is going to be getting another kind of competitor. Now, I haven't played WARDOGS. There have been no playtests as far as I'm aware, but just from looking at the trailer and the background gameplay, this is going to be perhaps a more tactical, slower take on the Battlefield genre. So we're going to go over everything we know about this game so far. Again, this information is pretty much brand new, so if you enjoy the channel, hit the sub button, be sure to hit the like button, and swing by the streams. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders and this YouTube channel. So from the background gameplay and the trailer and all that, you can get a very rough idea of what this game is supposed to be about. The description of the game directly from WARDOGS reads, WARDOGS is a tactical all-out warfare FPS that combines tactical gunplay and combined arms combat with building destruction mechanics in large-scale up to 100-player militaristic sandbox. The game mode, inspired by King of the Hill, has 3 teams fight for control of a randomized 2x2 kilometer control zone within a 256 square kilometer map. The team with the most players within the control zone earns points. The first team to reach 100 points wins the match. The variables in zone, location, and individual player tactics mean no match ever plays the same. Every player starts their journey with $10,000. Each life you purchase a custom loadout from a wide selection of weapons, gear, utility, and vehicles to help your team win the match. Every team play action you perform rewards cash, with cash persisting from match to match, from reviving squad mates, transporting friendlies to the zone, or controlling the objective. We don't just encourage team play, we reward it. It's the player's choice how they want to play, earn, and spend their profits. Then in the last few paragraphs, they go on about how you can basically destroy entire apartment blocks with rocket launchers, and they emphasize in the last paragraph that WARDOGS is a, quote, 100% player-driven and tied together with local voice chat, and this is not another take on Battle Royale, and it's not another take on the extraction shooter genre. They say that WARDOGS is a, quote, new take on the all-out warfare FPS genre that rewards decision-making, communication, and teamwork. So that's the spiel directly from the game. Just going through a couple things they mention here. First of all, the map size, 256 square kilometers. What the fuck? That's a giant map, isn't it? And then there's the fact that it's up to 100 players playing in a server, but there are 3 teams fighting over in this King of the Hill style game mode. Again, unfortunately, this is very early, so we don't actually have a full, scale gameplay that we can watch to see how this would play out. What's the flow like? You know, how much distance is there between points? But initially, this just sounds to me like a massive sort of leaning milsim take on Battlefield, but kind of not. This will probably be in between something like Arma and Battlefield. Again, I can't quite tell how the mechanics are going to be, but I'd be willing to bet this is going to be a game on the slower side of things, on the more realistic side of things, but maybe not going all the way. One thing there's absolutely no doubt about with this game is the fact that it is going to be a way more hardcore, involved experience than a game like Battlefield. So I'm wondering how much this game will actually directly compete with a game like Battlefield, even though it is in the same sort of genre, being a massive combined armed tactical game. For instance, they mentioned the addition of money. Players start with $10,000. I imagine that right there is just going to really change the gameplay, because if you're dying a bunch, you probably don't have a lot of money to actually buy good gear. Then early on in the trailer, they showed this point area where before it said cash is king, and then it said every investment matters, and they showed the before and after of this point area, and I assume you can actually build and reinforce certain areas that are important on the map with sandbags and walls and just better defenses. Then again, looking at the trailer, trying to get any sort of feel for the game even before I play it. The vehicle gameplay, there were a couple shots of jets, a couple shots of tanks. It looks like, again, it's leaning towards more that realistic side of things, the slower side of things. The same can be said for the infantry gameplay and possibly the time to kill. The infantry gameplay, it looks like the sprint speeds are going to be more on the realistic milsim side. And the time to kill, it's probably going to depend on armor. I'm not entirely sure if there's armor in this game, but I think it's a good hunch that there will be armor in the game. And I'm wondering if this game will be a one-shot headshot. Overall, my first impression of WARDOGS is that It might be kind of a Battlefield competitor, but I think this is probably more of a competitor for games like Squad, maybe games like Arma, but, you know, maybe I'll be wrong. I think the map size is what really is leaning me towards saying this game is more of a competitor for games like Squad and Arma more so than Battlefield, because you're talking about a gigantic map area and a significantly slower pace. I have already seen some controversy criticizing them for saying, oh, this game isn't a BR and it's not an extraction shooter. Some people find that, like, edgy. I kind of like that. I like that they're clarifying what the game is before people sort of jump into conclusions. And I also like that they're doing a completely different take on the tactical combined arms, you know, all-out warfare FPS genre that hasn't been done before. One thing that is pretty interesting is the fact that there's going to be 3 teams, so I'm wondering how bad third partying will be. Maybe you could team up with, like, another team and then totally destroy the remaining team. I'm also wondering how, like, territory works. Do you take certain sections within the control point? Because they mentioned, like, this is inspired by King of the Hill, and they also mentioned that the team with the most players within the control zone earns points. So are there subsections you can capture within the larger control zone that earn you points, or is it just purely based on the amount of players you have within the zone? If it's purely based on the amount of players, this kind of makes me worried for just the amount of, like, well, this is going to sound funny, but, like, the amount of camping that's going to happen within the capture zone, because if you just have your whole team within the capture zone, there really is no incentive for you to move. You can just sit in, like, any buildings, but then again, I guess they did mention you can destroy the buildings, and I do anticipate this game having fairly instant time to kill, especially if you get a headshot, on top of the fact that this is very clearly, in my mind, a more tactical, you know, milsim sort of game. So yeah, that's pretty much all the information that I have for you about this game right now. As to whether or not I'll play it, I'll definitely give this a try. I don't anticipate this being the type of game that I want to fucking, like, jump out of bed to play, but I'm sort of over dismissing games before they release at this point. I'm going to play it, I'm going to try it, I'm going to see how I like it. And right off the bat, I do commend them for trying a new take on something within a genre that doesn't have too much innovation. So I suppose we will just have to wait and see what happens with WARDOGS whenever the playtests happen, or maybe there's a release date soon. If you want to keep up to date with the game, I will be covering it, and I'll probably be streaming it as well. So be sure to hit the sub button, hit the like button, and swing by the streams. All links are in the description. Let me know how this game sounds to you and whether or not you feel like trying it. And also let me know whether or not you think this game will pull players away from Battlefield 6, or if you think it will compete with games like Squad, Arma, Hell Let Loose, that sort of thing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.